السماوات والأرض رب العالمين وله الكبرياء في السماوات والأرض رب العزيز الحكيم. الحمد لله الذي بنعمته تتم الصالحات. ربنا لك الحمد حتى ترضى ولك الحمد ربي ولك الحمد بعد الرضا. صلى الله وسلم وبارك على سيد الأولين والآخرين محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ملك الحق المبين، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله وصفيه من خلقه وخليله وأمين روحه. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وانظروا نفس ما قدمت لغد واتقوا الله إن الله خبير بما تعملون. Dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam, all praise and glory and thanks are due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We owe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala everything we have, وَمَا بِكُمْ مِنْ نِعْمَةٍ فَمِنَ اللَّهِ. And anything good that happens in your life, it's a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. مَا أَصَابَكَ مِنْ حَسَنَةٍ فَمِنَ اللَّهِ. That should make you more grateful and thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and more motivated and active in worshiping Him, in serving His cause, and in getting ready to meet Him. We're continuing our journey in this life, and the wisest amongst us are those who can prepare, who will actively prepare for life after death. As Rasul said, "Kayyisu man dana nafsahu wa amila lima ba'da al-maut." The wise person, the smart, is the one who will conquer himself and work and prepare for life after death. And on the day of judgment, people, when they are asked how long we're in this life, some people say 10 days, some people say a day or a couple of days. That's how much life is worth when we meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It doesn't mean that we need to abandon this life or neglect it. Actually, the greatness of this religion, it promises happiness and success in this life and in the hereafter. It's not only promises, it requires and mandates that its followers work to be the best and to be the most successful on earth. And any talk about choosing between this life and the hereafter is misleading. There is no such thing in Islam. It's a package. If you have the proper understanding of this religion, you will be the happiest person on earth, regardless of your circumstances, because of the balance that this deen instills in you, because of the sense of purpose that it will give you, because of the solid criteria to make decisions and choices, so that you are always focused, always, or all your acts are aligned and converge toward one ultimate goal. My dear respected brother and sister in Islam, once again, from the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we have another great season, that is the season of the days of Muharram. That we are witnessing now, and they're going to continue the whole month, but continue until the 10th of Muharram, which should be next Tuesday, inshallah. After the Hijjah, the days of the Hijjah that concluded with Arafah, now we have the days of Muharram that concludes with Ashura, and it's highly recommended that you fast the day of Ashura as following the Sunnah of Rasulullah. The 10th day of Muharram, which is said, inshallah, will be next Tuesday. Rasul said that the best days to fast after Ramadan are the days of Muharram. So fasting as much as you can in the whole month, and especially in these first 10 days, and especially the 10th day. SubhanAllah, from the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah knows our weakness, and we knows that sometimes we get tired, our iman goes up and down, so He gives us those seasons to reset and to upgrade our iman and to strengthen it. Because as life is full of distractions, things that will distract you, a lot of temptations, so sometimes we need that extra incentive that comes with Ramadan and comes with the days of the Hajj and the days of Muharram. It's like, when there is big sale going on, it will make you go to buy and shop even though you were not planning to do it. Or if there are great opportunity for investment, you will do it even if you did not have originally the plan to do that. This is an investment with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's a trade with Allah, tijara lan tabur, with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it is the smartest business and the most rewarding, both in this life and the hereafter, the investment with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Because you are pursuing Ridwan Allah. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be pleased with you, you got it made. Why? Because He is the Lord of the worlds. Everything is in His hands. So when He is pleased with you, put barakah and blessing in your time, guide you to make the right decision, protects you. You become, Allah become your protector, your wali. Inna wali Allah. One of the prophets said, addressing his people when they were threatening him, he said, "In my protector is Allah, or Allah is my protector." So, how can I be scared from what you are threatening me with? And some scholars say, "من وجد الله فماذا فقد, ومن فقد الله فماذا وجد." If you find Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you lost nothing. And if you lose that connection with Allah, that protection, then nothing else can make it up for it. There is, in Islam, there is something called tawfiq, which is when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with you, and there is khidlan, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala abandons you, and you become on your own. So you should always try your best to be among those who have that tawfiq, which comes with it the blessing, the guidance, the protection, everything. And that's what the Rasul ﷺ, knowing this, said in one of the worst moments in his life, when he was chased by the people of Taif and humiliated and was bleeding because they stoned him. He told Aisha that was the worst moment of his life. And at that time he made very emotional dua, in which he said something that tells you how he thinks and how we should be thinking. إِن لَمْ يَكُنْ بِكَ غَضَبٌ عَلَيَّ فَلَا أُبَالِي. Oh Allah, if you are not angry or if you are not displeased with me, then nothing matters. So, in a moment where he thought that everything was bleak, everything was hopeless, it's a very hopeless situation, because he went to Taif when the situation became hopeless in Mecca. So he was already desperate. He was already in a very desperate situation, and then that's the response of the people of Taif, so it made it even worse. But in the middle of that, he remembered knowing that at the end of the day, if that connection is still there, then everything else can be taken care of and be fixed. Again, one of the greatest days of the year to fast is Ashura, and it's going to be the day on Tuesday. Now, we all know that also this is Ashura originally was because Rasul ﷺ, when he came to Medina, he found that the Jews fast on that day, and he asked why, and they said that this is the day Allah saved Musa alayhi salam. He said, we are the true followers of Musa, so we're going to be fasting that day. And in making that statement, Rasul ﷺ emphasizes something extremely important and profound, that it is not the followers of Musa is not his children or offspring. He is the follower of his message. It's not like because your Musa is your father or Ibrahim alayhi salam is your father, that doesn't give you anything special. But the true followers of Musa alayhi salam, those who follow his message. And this idea is emphasized in Quran clearly. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us about Ibrahim alayhi salam. وَإِذِ ابْتَلَى إِبْرَاهِيمَ رَبُّهُ بِكَلِمَاتٍ فَأَتَمَّهُنَّ قال إني جاعلك للناس إماما قال ومن ذريتي قال لا ينال عهد الظالمين. Ibrahim alayhi salam, very natural human being. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says when Ibrahim's Lord tested him with certain commandments which he fulfilled. He said, Allah said, I will make you a leader of people. إِنِّي جَعِلُكَ لِلنَّاسِ إِمَامًا. Ibrahim alayhi salam, like we all have that feeling. He wanted that honor to be extended to his children. So Ibrahim alayhi salam responded, said, Ibrahim asked, and will you make leaders from my descendants too? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah answered, my pledge does not hold for those who do evil. It's not all your descendants. It's only those who are going to follow the message. It's not about being the son of Ibrahim or the grandson. That doesn't add anything. It is, قَالَ وَمِن ذُرِّيَّتِي. I'm going to make you a leader. So how about my children, my descendants? Only those who are going to follow the message. So that's what should be our response to anybody who claims that they are the Ibrahim alayhi salam or Musa alayhi salam is their father, or it's that's what Rasul said, that we are the true followers of Musa. We're going to fast that day. This incident in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saved Musa alayhi salam is one of the greatest and the most clear example of tawakkul on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Relying, putting your trust in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Musa alayhi salam, as we all know, was chased. Musa and his people was chased by Pharaoh, and then they came across the Red Sea. There is nowhere to go. So the followers of Musa naturally say, قالوا إنا لمدركون. قال إن أصحاب موسى إنا لمدركون. We are doomed. And here comes the true Iman. Comes say, كلا إن معي ربي سيهدين. No, Allah is with me and will make a way for me out of this. How? He didn't know, but he has no doubt. I use this example. This is the best example you can use for this idea of tawakkul. When there is nothing, when situation looks hopeless and doomed, and you still have that hope. And sometimes we become hopeless from minor incident that happens in our life. This is truly hopeless situation. There is an army chasing you, and there is the sea. We're doomed. But the true Iman comes at that moment saying, كَلَّا إِنَّ مَعِي رَبِّي سَيَهْدِينِ. That's a statement that we all should memorize and should say it when we face a situation that looks on paper hopeless, but you should say it with full confidence. Not just uttering word. It has to come from the bottom of your heart that Allah will not let me down. And how Allah will not let you down? اذكروا الله في الرخاء. Remember Allah during the time of ease, He will remember you at the time of difficulties. So when you have that solid record with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala during the time of ease, and you face a situation like this, then you should be very confident and have full trust that Allah would not let you down. It is this example and the example of our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. During these days, it was the days of Hijrah, when he migrated to Medina, and he was with Abu Bakr as-Siddiq in the cave. And Quraysh managed to get to the cave. And they were walking around it. And Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu said the same thing that Ashab Musa said. The people of Musa said, he said, if they look down, they're going to see us. And the Rasul said the same thing. That مَا بَالُكَ بِاثْنَيْنِ اللَّهُ ثَالِثُهُمَا. What do you think is going to happen to two people? Allah is their third. يقول لصاحبه لا تحزن إن الله معنا. Don't worry, Allah is with us. And that's again what we should be doing, and we should remember during the time when things look bleak or hopeless. The day of Ashura, these 10 days were associated also with another incident in the history of Muslims, and that is the incident of Karbala and the cruel, brutal assassination of Hussein, the grandson of Rasul. This is something that we should get it out of the dispute between Sunnah and Shia. It shouldn't be even a matter of dispute. It was a cruel assassination. Nobody should or can try to justify it under any circumstances. You can explain, you can analyze, but still, it was cruel, brutal assassination of the grandson of Rasul. Do we need to keep commemorating it all the time? No, we don't. History is only good for lessons. History is only good for lessons. So we should not get stuck in history. We should not make it a matter of dispute or division. We should learn our lessons and move on. But unfortunately, we always have those extreme positions. People go to the one extreme, and then comes the response. We have some people who claim to be Sunnah, and they're trying to justify that, what happened, just because we need to oppose the Shia. You don't need to oppose anybody. Just follow the truth. This is wrong. What happened was wrong and condemned. That's it. And then learn our lessons and move on. Go back to the incident of the Hijrah of Rasul. So many lessons we can learn from the Hijrah. One of them is the detailed plan of Rasul for migrating. Allah is something that we all need to learn now. At this time and age, we don't conduct our life with the same sophistication that Rasul planned his Hijrah. It's an amazing plan. The least details were taken into consideration. Rasul hired, and Abu Bakr Siddiq hired the top expert in the desert. The desert is not a game. Crossing the desert, if you lose your way, you're gone. They hired the top expert. They arranged to meet with him in the cave that is opposite to the direction of Hijrah. We're migrating this way, now we're going to go this way. And stay in the cave for 3 days until things settle. So Rasul didn't say, "Khalliha ala Allah. Let's go, inshallah, things will work out." That's unfortunately very common among Muslims nowadays. That's not how it works. It's aqilha wa tawakkal. Plan as if you're relying on your plans, and then put your trust in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as if you have no plan. That's the delicate equation that we need to master. When you are planning, as if you are relying on your plan, as if. But when your plan fails or there is nothing you can do, nothing more, then you switch to put your trust in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as if you have no plan. Planned for people to bring him the news, planned for shepherd to come and erase the footsteps of the people who are going to come to bring him the news to the cave. It's an amazing plan. And again, when the moment came, and still with all these precautions, Quraysh managed to reach the cave, Rasul switched from planning to tawakkul. There is nothing more he can do. He's inside the cave. So now, only now he said,
لا تحزن إن الله معنا. He didn't say it in the beginning, oh Abu Bakr, let's go, inshallah nothing will happen to us, Allah will protect us. No. They said it when he was in the cave and there is nothing more he can do. That's the magic equation that we need to master in our life. Plan very carefully and then put your trust in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They are not contradictory. The hijrah of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam also brings something very important, put something on the table. Because it was not, people migrated, number one, because that's what their leader told them. And number two, when they migrated, they were forced to leave everything behind. So nobody took credit cards were done, or they transferred their money, or they sold their houses. No. They lost everything. People, when they migrated from Mecca to Medina, everything was put on one hand, and their religion was put on the other hand, and they made the choice. That will tell you how these people came to Islam compared to the way people come to Islam nowadays. That tells you how Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam presented Islam, how the companion accepted it. It was the Islam of commitment. When people declared their shahada, they pledged to Allah through the Prophet that we will do whatever it takes, whatever needs to be done, so that you will be pleased with us. We will do everything possible to fulfill your purpose, infad muradillah, in pursuit of Ridwan Allah, so that you will be pleased with us. That's what they signed on when they declared their shahada. And that pledge, as the Quran tells us, udkhulu fi silmi kafiran. They entered in this religion wholeheartedly, not reluctantly. Now, it was not a lukewarm commitment. And then that commitment was tested. It was tested in the beginning with torture. People were tortured and some were tortured to death. Yet they persevered. Passed very harsh tests. And then they were isolated and starved. They were boycotted and starved to death for 3 years in Sham Abi Talib, and they persevered. And then came this test of Hijrah. Allah, you pledge to do whatever Allah wants you to do. The time now is to migrate. Are you going to honor that pledge, or are you going to say, let me think about it? That's tough? No. People responded with no hesitation. They left everything behind, and even the books of Sirah talks about Suhaib, when he was migrating, he was stopped. Suhaib is Roman originally. He was stopped and said, where are you going? You came to Mecca, you had no money, and you made all your money here. We're not going to let you go with your money. And the response came immediately. If I give you all my money, or I tell you where all my money is, are you going to let me go? They said yes. He told them, just let me go. Why? Because religion is much more precious than anything else for those people, and because of that commitment that they made to the Prophet ﷺ, they signed on blank paper. Whatever was revealed after that needs to be done, they did it with no hesitation. Migrate, they migrated. This is the best way to understand the type of commitment that the companions made to Rasul ﷺ, is to read the statement by Sa'd ibn Mu'adh in the Battle of Badr. Please look it up today. I believe you have some time, look it up. You will find it in Arabic, in English, in any language. What Sa'd ibn Mu'adh, one of the top leaders of the people of Medina, Ansar, what did he say to Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the Battle of Badr? Because in the Battle of Badr, Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam went out of Medina to intercept the caravan of Quraysh. The bay'ah between Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the people of the Medina is to protect him inside the Medina. So that's not in the contract. the bay'ah, the covenant between the Ansar and the Rasul ﷺ was to protect you in Medina. But this is outside, so it was not part of the contract. So Rasul ﷺ, out of his decency, the very decent, extremely decent person, he didn't want to put them on the spot. He kept consulting. Ashiru alayya ayyuhan nas. What do you think? Because Quraysh at that time, it's Quraysh who decided to go for the war. Rasul ﷺ went out to intercept the caravan so that they can recover some of the wealth that they left behind and the houses that were taken, confiscated from them. So it is Quraysh who insists caravan escape, and Quraysh decided to go for a war. So Rasul started consulting. And then the Muhajirin, one after the other, say, go for it, we are with you. Abu Bakr as-Siddiq spoke, Muqdad ibn Amr, everybody. And the Rasul kept saying, Yashir alayya ayyuhan nas. And what do you think? He kept consulting. So Sa'd ibn Mu'adh, smart. He knew that the Rasul is waiting for the opinion of Ansar. He got it from the Muhajirin, go for it. Everybody is saying, go for it. So why he kept asking, what do you think? He asked the Rasul لَعَلَّكَ تَقْصُدِنَا Ya Rasulullah. He said, yes. So Sa'd ibn Mu'adh said, maybe you're waiting for our opinion. And the Rasul said, yes, that's exactly what it is. And then read the statement that Sa'd ibn Mu'adh is telling the Rasul that our commitment to you is beyond what was written. It's beyond what we discussed. And we pledge for you to do whatever it needs to be done. And then at the end, he told them, if you want to cross this ocean or this sea, you can cross it with you, with no hesitation. Because our commitment is beyond what we agreed on, what we were discussing your migration from Mecca to Medina, and that we're going to protect you in Medina. It's beyond that. So go read it. It will tell you exactly what type of Islam was presented by Rasul and accepted by the companions, which is a full commitment with no hesitation to do whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala expects them to do. The last thing that we can learn from here is the fact that you can never know how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make a way out for you. Rasul reached a point where things became hopeless in Mecca, especially after the death of his uncle and his wife. The people were really protecting him and supporting him financially, emotionally, everything. It became so bad situation, and then after Taif being chased and stoned. Rasul even before that, he never stopped knocking on doors and talking to anybody who is willing to listen. And that should be our attitude. The attitude of a true Muslim should be, you should never leave any stone unturned in pursuing your mission and delivering your message. So Rasul that was day in, day out. Particularly during the season of Hajj. He would go to the tribes and propose when the situation in Mecca was clearly reached a dead end. Rasul as great leader was looking for an alternative base for his movement. So he sent people to Habasha, to Abyssinia. You can see the vision and strategy. It's amazing that we turned this deen into a deen of darwasha, or just so haphazard. There was so much planning in the mind of Rasul. He sent people to Habasha so that if Muslims are exterminated in Mecca, his message and his movement will continue. That's the kind of planning. And he was approaching the tribes during the Hajj season, asking for who among those tribes will host him and host his movement. And then we'll come to this in a minute how he was doing it, because that was very, very sophisticated. It's a level of sophistication that we still don't even come close to it. Rasul when he goes to talk to a tribe, he gets briefed by Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu before he meets the leader of the tribe. Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu was known to be the most knowledgeable of the tribes. Who is who? That was a whole science at that time. Like knowing the people, knowing the tribes, and knowing everything about them. So Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, before he meets a leader of the tribe, he gets briefed. It's being practiced nowadays, but not by Muslims. Practiced like lawmakers. When they go and meet the foreign leaders, they get briefed by their staff about who is this person and what do you expect. So that's what Abu Bakr as-Siddiq used to do with the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So that not only he does his job, but he does it efficiently. While doing this, and things were not working, because conditions that the tribe are making are not acceptable to Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We can support you, but we have to be in charge after you. And the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not accept those deals. While things looked hopeless, Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam met 6 people, very average people. A lot of books don't even mention their names. Very average people from Medina. Where are you from? We're from Medina. And then, do you have a minute? And then he started talking to them, telling them that he is the messenger and he was sent. And the people said, oh, this is the prophet that the Jews were telling us about in Medina, that is about to be sent. So let us be the first. It's a very simple-minded. Let us be the first before them to believe in him. So they accepted the message on the spot, but then said, we are very average people, and we're not leaders. So we're going to take this message, and next time we'll bring decision makers, the movers and shakers in Medina, and that's what happened. In 1 year, there was a delegation from Medina, this time people who have like about 12 people, and made the first bay'ah al-aqaba al-ula. Again, this concept of bay'ah, pledging to Allah through the Prophet that we're going to do whatever it takes to fulfill your purpose in pursuit of your one. And then the year Rasul sent Mus'ab ibn Umayr with them, planning again to prepare the ground for him to migrate. And the year after, 73 men and women from Medina came and made the second bay'ah, second pledge, bay'ah al-aqaba al-thaniya, which paved the way for migration. So these are some of the lessons that we can learn from this incident of Hijrah, that people, when their religion is placed on one hand, and everything else on the other hand, they don't even look to the other side, because their religion is more precious than anything else. It was a test for their commitment, and they left everything behind, and they honored their commitment and pledge to Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. وَتُوبُوا إِلَى اللَّهِ إِنَّهُ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونستهديه ونتوب اليه، نعوذ بالله من شرور انفسنا ومن سيئات اعمالنا، من يهد الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا. With the respected brother and sister in Islam, it's not true that Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the companions did not have any attachment to Mecca. Like many people nowadays will tell us there is no room for patriotism or for loving your country because Islam is your nationality. That's not true. It was very hard for these people to leave. And Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam looked at Mecca and said, وَلَوْلَا أَنَّ أَهْلَكِ أَخْرَجُونِ مَا خَرَجْتُ. If it was not forced to leave, I would not leave. And then when he was in Medina and Bilal was making poem and talking about places in Mecca, Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, stop please, because it's those memories, you are invoking memories that are making us feel the pain, how much we missed. So these are natural feeling, and Islam never fight natural feeling. The last thing I'm going to close with, in addition to the concept of bay'ah and commitment, there is the concept of leadership. that they had true leadership. And Rasul said, it's migration with no hesitation. And that's the magic formula that we're missing nowadays. Individuals who are committed to a mission and they have true leadership. And unless we fulfill that requirement, we're going nowhere. If we're going to continue to be a community of worshippers that is leaderless, we're going nowhere. Because that's not the prophetic model. The prophetic model is mission-driven individuals, united, mobilized, and unified by that mission and by the unity of leadership. Just to give you an example, how many people pray in every masjid, in all the masjids in this area? And then when we had a Muslim candidate who went from mosque to mosque asking for people to vote for him, he got only 5,000 votes. Compare that level of commitment to the level of commitment we are talking about. There are people who were ready to migrate, responding, answering their leader, and people who are hesitant even to cast their vote, to spend a few minutes to cast their vote, because again, we don't have that level of commitment, and we don't have that true leadership. ربنا اتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار واشف مرضانا وارحم موتانا توفنا وترضى عنا واختم بالصالحات أعمالنا واجعل خير أعمالنا خواتمها وخير أيامنا يوم نلقاك. ربنا ارحم والدينا كما ربنا صغارا وارحم موتانا وجميع موتى المسلمين. لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إنا كنا من الظالمين. صلى الله على سيدنا محمد وأقم الصلاة.